Welcome to the Just Montina channel, where we're having conversations about marriage, men, and mindset. If you're a new viewer, subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. So I see this question popping up a lot. And women, and they ask me this too, they're asking, where are the good men at? Hey sis, the majority of the quote unquote good men that you desire are spoken for. As my husband would say, you spoken for. They're married. The majority of the good, high quality, amazing, high integrity men that look good, smell good, have great paying jobs, and are just the ones that when you see in public with their wives, you're like, darn, I wish that was my man. They're married. Majority. So I wanted to create this video because no one is out here really telling you and teaching you and educating you about the good men that are left that for you are the least desirable most of the time. The good men, let's just say the majority, let's just say 75% of the good men are married. Okay, so we're saying good, meaning they're high integrity, they work hard, they're provider protectors, and they serve their wives and their children. Okay, that's that batch of men. The second batch of men, I call them, I'm just going to say in batches. Women, we're in batches too. These are men that are divorced, and they might be divorced multiple times. They may be widowed. Their wife may have passed, and they were, are single dads or were single dads. And some of these men may just have been so focused on their career that they just decided not to marry. But I'll tell you, there is a stat that says men over 40 are the least likely to get married if they've never been married, okay? So keep that in mind. But for these men that are divorced, you think that your master's degree impresses them. So I'm going to use myself. This is story time. My videos aren't really, someone said, I appreciate the advice. I don't even know if I'm giving you advice as much as I'm just sharing my story in hopes that it inspires you to open your heart for love and understand what's available for you, especially if you're over 40 like myself. Okay. When I married my now current husband, I was 44, turned 45 that month, and he's in his 50s. Okay. So these men that are now available to you, the good men that are left, okay, the second batch that probably in your mind wasn't your first choice because you still want the man that you qualified for back in your 20s and maybe your early 30s. Now you're in your 40s saying, where they at? Where they at? Where they at? My husband, for me, is the most amazing man I've ever met. He's the most amazing relationship, the most, oh my gosh, honorable, admirable, distinguished, confident. He's just my man. He does it for me. But he was not impressed with me owning a company that's literally made millions in sales and revenue, won multiple awards. I have a master's degree. I've been a school teacher. I've worked at the largest IT financial company in the country. I have a lot of accolades that come along with me. I have some executive degrees. I have it going on. But that's something that another woman would probably be impressed with, or a colleague or a client. My husband was most impressed with me once being a homeless teen, living in a homeless shelter, digging myself up out the gutter, that I had, quote unquote, made it to where I was today. My mother had abandoned me. I've never met her, and I'm now a 45-year-old woman. My father I met when I was 18. He was in prison where he later died after serving 19 years of a 20-year sentence. I was having problems with my son when I met my husband. I was just so overwhelmed with the personal details of my life. And it's not that I had a facade on online or anything. It's just that I knew and still know how to completely separate my online, my business, my professional life, and my personal life. But my husband was most impressed with me. He was most impressed with me talking about the father of my children and just how I really wanted to make it work. I really didn't expect to be a single parent. I was with him for over 5 years, and then later almost, we had a third child, so that put us in about 10-year range. My husband was just impressed with me. And once I was a whole, complete, nothing missing, nothing broken, super sexy, healthy, whole woman, That's what he was impressed with. These men are good men, but you're not impressing them because you're not being vulnerable. You're not sharing your heart. The accolades, they don't care. They have their own accolades. My husband is a 21-year retired military veteran with a master's degree. I can look around. I'm in our office now, but he has so many amazing accolades and coins and things that he tells me about and awards and trophies. My husband's a Mason. My husband is amazing. He truly is. But I would have overlooked him in public. I certainly, my husband and I joke because we met on Match.com. And he said his boy at work had told him, man, go on Match. I met somebody nice on Match. There's some really nice women on there. And my husband said he told him, man, I can meet somebody in the Walmart. He has a scruffy voice, my husband. He said, I can meet somebody in Walmart aisle 18. So he tells me that story. And I said, well, you wouldn't have met me in Walmart at aisle 18 because number one, I don't shop in Walmart. And number two, I don't buy cookies. That's the cookie aisle 18, the sweets and all that. I wouldn't shop there. So he met me on Match. He matched me, and then I didn't match him back. And it wasn't because I didn't find him attractive or anything. He had pictures with little kids, and I was like, oh, I don't want to date a man with little kids. Well, those were his grandchildren. I didn't know it. My husband loves children. Loves children. So a week later, I didn't match with him, but he sent me a message. You can still send a message through Match. And it was like, hey, have a blessed, day or something like that. And I was like, oh, I responded. That was nice. He caught my attention with the blessed. So it went from there. Within 2 weeks of our first date, we talked on a Sunday. By Tuesday, we had our first date because he was adamant. He didn't want to just talk on the phone. He wasn't with that texting. He actually wasn't with texting at all. It was really just talking. And I said, I'm really busy. I had a very full life. And I said, my son had a basketball game. And I just mentioned it. He's like, oh, I'll meet you at the basketball game. Now, I'd never, ever had a man at my son's basketball games. This was crazy. I'd been divorced at the time when I met my husband about 3 years and had dated. I was starting to date. My husband showed up at that basketball game and I saw him. I was like, okay, you smell good. My husband looks good. He does it for me. And I said, he said, well, where do you want to go to eat? And I was like, oh, well, Burger King's up the street. He said, you want Burger King? I said, yeah, I don't want to be late for the game. We had Burger King. We went into the game. I had already prepaid and bought the tickets. And 2 weeks later, he's like, would you get married again? And I said, yeah, I would consider it. And a year later, he proposed. And 6 months later from that, we were married. Here's the thing. When I say you're not interested in the men that are left, this is a second batch of men that are really high quality, wonderful, amazing, generous, provider, protector, servant men, especially these 50 plus men. Oh my God, they're amazing. But I hear y'all online. He wants a nurse. Now, these men don't want your purse, especially a retired veteran. My husband don't want my purse for nothing. Matter of fact, I'll tell another story where I'm sharing again about how he moved me into his home and he's amazing. But these men, some of them do have high blood pressure because of the stress of freaking life and ex-wives and children. Some of them made the same bad decisions that we made and had all these kids. Okay, don't get me. Oh God, when I tell these stories about my father, my 3 children, good Lord, I didn't even use my uterus wisely. Golly, I should have had 1, but 2, 3 by the same man. I was just downright dumb. I wish an older woman would have said, baby, your uterus is precious. Use it wisely. These men may have developed diabetes. It's life, y'all. These men, I've heard women say they don't have all their teeth. Yeah, my husband's military. And there are some stories he told me he doesn't have all his teeth. Now, it's not noticeable probably to you. And within the last few months, and I laugh about it because he came home one day and was like, hey, I gotta get some teeth pulled. And I said, teeth pulled? Why you gotta get teeth pulled? He said, because they're loose. I said, loose? Well, how long they been loose? He said, a year. And I said, oh, you wanted to marry me first, huh? But this is life. Y'all act like these men are going to be perfect. You're not perfect, especially after you have some babies, honey. I have stretch marks for days, okay? But I'm fit because I choose to go to the gym, but them stretch marks aren't going away. These men have Papa Bear bellies. I call these men they have Papa Bear bellies because they've slowed down. My husband was the same weight for over 20 years. They slowed down. My husband still works. He works full time for the government, even though he's a retired veteran. But he's not as active as he used to be. He's not doing PT every single day. Okay, so there are differences with these men. What else have I heard online? I mean, y'all have some real harsh things that you say about these men. But I just wanted to come along and let you know that there are good men. Where the good men at? Majority are married, but the ones that are left and available now currently, you're overlooking. I want to encourage you to do online dating because it's going to be difficult for you to meet someone in public that looks at your aesthetic and just kind of again, that's what's going to attract them first, but that might not be the man you want. These great men are working. Okay, they're not hanging out in no clubs and bars. They're not hanging out in cafes. They're working. My husband, when he gets home from work, he's tired. Well, no, I shouldn't say that because my husband, I wish he would sit down. He gonna do something. He gonna wash a car. He gonna wash some clothes and fold some clothes. He's gonna sweep the floor. He's gonna do something. But these men, or we go golf. We go do fun things. We're golfing. We're pickleballing. They have hobbies. They might go to cigar bars, but again, think about the men. Like my husband goes to cigar bars with his boys. And you know what? Majority, I say 9 out of 10 of my husband's friends are all married. They're married. My husband was like the only one in his friend group that was divorced. It was crazy. I was like, all your friends are married? Yeah. Because people ask me, well, does your husband have any friends? Yeah. And they're all married, 20 plus year marriages. Even my husband, between the two of us, I kid, we have over, let me see here, 20, we have over 30 years of marriages, like that we've been married. We've both been married the majority of our lives. So I hope this helps. Leave me a comment and let me know what brought you here and what's going to keep you coming back. And if you have any questions, you can leave them below or go to askmontina@gmail.com and I'll answer your question in my next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.